Hello everyone, how are we all doing this week? I am sat here in my tracksuit because do you know what? Cold weather, isn't it? Cold weather, isn't it? I've not been enjoying this cold weather. Weirdly enough, I actually really like cozy outfits, but this cold and having to layer up so much, not for me. No thank you. No thank you. Rather not. I'd rather not. It's just not been it. So I'm literally in the most relaxed, comfy outfit today, because who wants to dress up and look good sometimes when it's cold? Like no one. You just want to be comfy. So that is what I am today. But my week has been fairly chilled. As I mentioned in the previous episode, I'm really taking this year quite slow. I'm not really stressing myself out too much. I'm kind of just trying to enjoy the slow months, because I know, soon enough I'll be super busy and I won't have time to feel slow and do the things I need to do. Because I always find, I don't know about any of you guys, but I always find at the start of the year I always have so many things that need to be done, whether that's clearing out things, sorting through things, organising things, or maybe it's just like ticking off those things I didn't have time to do in December, because I always find November, December, especially with my job, always busy. And I think a lot of people also experience this, because it's a really, really busy time of year. Obviously we all know that, but you kind of just push things to the side. You don't really necessarily focus on a lot of things. You're just it's fine, do that next year. And then it comes to January and you're like, oh my god, I actually have to do those things. So it's been nice to just tick off a few things in this past week, especially because it's cold and I'm avoiding going outside if I can help it, because who wants to go outside when it's this cold, as I mentioned before. Can you tell that I don't like the cold? But one thing I have been absolutely loving this week, now this might not appeal to everyone, but it appeals to me, and it's something that I'm obsessed with, and it's Ariana Grande's new song. Nothing to do with today's episode, but what I have to say is that this song is incredible. I love it. It's just basically like a clap back. Would you call it a clap back? That sounds really weird now. I've said it 3 times. A clap back at all the people the press and whatnot saying all the shit they say about her. And I just thought, you know what a slay. What an absolute slay. I think that in this day and age, so many people have opinions on other people's lives, and so many people are so caught up in other people's lives that they actually don't why. I find it bizarre, because okay, maybe what she's done hasn't been amazing, hasn't been the nicest thing, probably shouldn't have done what she did, supposedly stealing this man from his wife, and he's got a son or kid or whatever, and I agree that isn't a good thing. But you also don't know the situation, because why are they going to share the situation? They're probably not. But also, why do you care? So many people care so much. Why do people care? It's her life. Let her live her life. It's not stopping her doing her life. It's not stopping her doing things. Scandals and things like that happen all the time. I think it's just been when people see successful people doing something they shouldn't, or doing something that typically isn't right, they have such an opinion on it and have to voice it. It's fine if you have an opinion. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion. And I'm sure some of you guys listening are probably thinking, well, yeah, I agree. I think it's wrong. That's okay. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just I think you can have your opinion. I kind of don't really care, because I'm not that fussed about celebrity life and celebrity people. I don't really care. But it's just funny how many people have the need and the want to voice things, and then forget so here's my one thing that I wanted to mention. Sorry, I'm really going off on a tangent, but I just need to voice it, and seems like the only place to talk about it. So Ariana Grande supposedly stole, well, allegedly, we'll say allegedly because I don't know the full ins and outs. She got with this man who's also on the Wicked film. Can't remember what his name is. He's a very strange looking man. I'm sorry, he is. And he was married and has a child, and she stole him, and he's broken up a marriage, whatever, right? people still love her music. I still love her music. I'm sorry, I just do. Like, I've always been a big fan of her music. So you ain't going to stop me listening. But why do people all of a sudden forget about Chris Brown? Because Chris Brown is also not a great person, yet people will go to his concerts and people will go and watch him perform and listen to his music. But I don't think what he did was anywhere near as bad per se as Ariana Grande. But maybe it's because I'm biased because I like Ariana Grande. But still, do you know what I mean? I just feel like celebrity life and celebrities are just normal people, and they're just doing things that normal people will do in everyday life. It's just because they're in the media that you see it and people have opinions on it. I'm sure if you knew someone who also did the same thing, you'd probably have, you'd feel the same way, but you probably wouldn't voice it, would you? It's very interesting. It's a very interesting topic. Anyway, that's so off topic, and I'm so sorry for anyone who really doesn't find that interesting. But it's just something I was thinking about. Anyway, the song's amazing. I love the song. I have had it on repeat. I have listened to it pretty much every day, maybe multiple times a day. The first day it came out, I listened to it all day. I just love it. I've been waiting for Ariana Grande to bring out some new music for ages, and I pretty much love every single album. Actually, I do love every single album she's brought out. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'd love her to one day do an Eras tour. Because that would be sensational. I have seen her live. She's amazing. Anyway, on to the topic of the episode. Apologise for that little mini random rant this week. I hope you enjoyed. This week we're going to talk about getting organised. Now, some of you, probably most of you, might already be well into the year and you're feeling quite organised and you've got yourself going. And if you haven't, this could be a really good episode for you, because organisation is something I majorly struggle with, because I'm either really organised or I'm all over the shop. And I think there's certain things in my life that I'm super organised with and certain things I'm absolutely not. And they're almost like things I just push to the side and I just don't think about. So I think organisation is all about really, there's a lot of I think with organisation there's a lot of planning and a lot of thought process. Oh God, I can't speak. Thought process. Oh my God, today's not my day. Thought processes going into it to get yourself organised. Do you know what I mean? It's not just one thing. You don't just flick a switch and you're like, yeah, okay, I know what I'm doing. You have to really think about it, and you have to take all the things that are swimming around in your brain and just be like, right, that goes there, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. And do you know what? That's a lot. That is a lot. I just find it really difficult at times. Not all the time, I would say. I was fairly organised, but since being self-employed and having to think about things so much more with deadlines or just organising myself and making sure that I get all the things I need to get done, I've learned a lot about the importance of organising yourself for certain situations. Don't get me wrong, I'm probably the most organised with work, but even so, I'm not that organised, because even though I would say, I know what I'm doing each week, I plan it out, I still find it really, really difficult on certain days when I haven't planned my day to do things, because I don't even know where to start. It's almost like I have to have some sort of idea of a plan for that day just to get myself going. Otherwise I'm sat there right, what do I do? Even though I know there's hundreds of things I could do. It's very strange. It's probably a symptom of something like ADHD or something. I don't know. I actually don't know. But it's probably there's probably something related to this. But I thought we could talk about some things to help you guys get organised and help you feel more ready for the year, because I feel like January is definitely a time where you can give yourself a bit of time to adjust, figure out what you want to do in the year, organise yourself, slowly ease into the year. And organisation is something that's so important to keep yourself just accountable for things, but also just to make sure you get things done. Because believe you me, if I didn't organise myself, I would forget half the things I need to do. I'd probably do something else, or I'd sit and watch TV when I don't need to watch TV. I'm very, 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 very good at procrastinating. unless it's something I really, really want to do or really excited to do. So for instance, when I'm recording the podcast, sometimes I don't want to do it. I genuinely don't want to do it, but I'm like, I've got to do it. So I allot myself a day to do it. So that day, that's the thing I'm doing. I'm recording the podcast, and then I'm editing it, and I'm uploading it, and I'm getting it all sorted. That is one day that I've given myself. So there's nothing else planned for that day. Obviously, I might have other things going on, but for the most part, there's nothing else planned for that day. So if I'm just getting myself organised through what days what I'm doing each day. God, I cannot speak today. I'm really sorry. Today is not. It's not it. So if I plan each day, then I know what I'm doing each day, and then, you know, when the day comes, I'm like, right, that's what I've planned to do, and I'm not sat there like, could maybe like do some emails, or because I'm very much like that. But anyway, we're gonna get into my kind of tips on being organised, and I've got my little notepad to read off. I feel very old school with a notepad. I'm such a notepad girl. I just find writing things down really helps to like get it out. I just find like writing on a notepad so much better, and like when you're on your phone sometimes it can feel like you forget about it and it's not there, and it just goes into the abyss, and you're like, don't know where that list went. Whereas when you have it written down, it's there. It's physical, it's there, it's in front of you. And that leads me on to the first tip, which is making lists. Now, when you're making lists to get organised, there's so many different things you need to remember. First of all, when you're writing a list of all the things you need to do, you need different types of lists. So you need one that's like life, one that's admin, one that's work, one that's like personal. You know, you need to have different headers, because then you can kind of categorize all the things you need to do, and then from there you can work out what's most important in each category. I feel like sometimes if you just do one big list, it's so overwhelming, because all you're thinking about is all these things you need to do, and you're like, oh my god, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to go to the post office, I've got to walk the dog, I need to go and get the food shop, but I also need to do this for work, and I need to ring the doctors, but I also need to clean out the cupboards. You know what I mean? All of these things are swimming around in your head, and then you're not focusing on the one thing that you need to focus on. And it's so easy to then pick out the tasks that you want to do, because you're like, oh well, I'll just do that today, and then all of the other ones just kind of like are still sat there in the list, and you're not really thinking about it, and then before you know it, you've forgotten to book your doctor's appointment, and the cupboard's still a mess, which you need to do because it will make you feel better and it will help your mental health, and you're just kind of stuck in this like circle where you're not actually getting out of it. You're just going in a circle trying to figure out why things aren't working. So writing lists is like the most important thing, especially when it comes to kind of getting all the things and the thoughts in your head and figuring out, right, okay, what do I want to do? How can I get organized with my life? So for instance, if you're going to have all these different headings, I have a work heading. You might not have necessarily a work heading if you work in an office, because you might have a notebook at work and you do all your work and then you leave and you don't have to worry about that. So that might not be something you need. If you're self-employed, you might have a work list. It might be that you need to, when I get to work, and like do these things at work. I don't know, maybe it's like going to IT that you need to do that day, or maybe it's like speaking to HR about your pay slip or something like that. You can have that in your to-do list, but most of the time you'd have a work to-do list, like at work, I would have thought. So you probably don't need one for work, but I think it's important to have the different things. So for instance, so you have like your life one, which could be, I need to organize the cupboards, I need to clear out the fridge, I need to hoover this, or I need to go and do XYZ, you know, those kind of life, house, admin things you need to do that are all like life things. Quite generalized, but like that's where you put all those kind of things. Then you want to have a personal one, which is like personal things that are just for you and not anything to do with like necessarily like life and, you know, buying food and stuff like that. Personal things might be like doctor's appointments. It might be, you know, any treatment that you might be having. It might be, I don't know, anything personal to you. Maybe it's like your therapy, or maybe you are, I don't know, going to the gym, whatever, personal to you, that is important to you, your mental health, your mental well-being, everything, personal things, that all those things need to go in that list. And then you can have another list. Obviously, if you've got your work one, then you could have another list that might be just like other things that don't really fit into the other ones, like maybe they're like really important tasks, or you could have like just other things that are really, really rogue, really random, like booking a holiday, you know, that don't really fit into any of the categories. But I do think having a most important list is also good. So once you've written all your different lists out, then write another one that says most important tasks. So these are tasks that have to be done. Most important things that if you don't do them soon, it's that you're going to miss the deadline, or, you know, it's like they're really important. If you don't do them, like you're screwed kind of situation. Like, I don't know, getting your car MOT'd or something like that. Like, those are important tasks and they have to be done first. So important tasks are obviously important, but then, you know, okay, I'm going to focus on these first before I get around to all the other ones, because if you're like me, you probably have like 101 things to do. Like, I live alone, right? I live in a 1-bed flat, yet there was always things to do. And I think it's because, like, maybe it's because I live alone, I get a bit complacent sometimes. I can live in my own mess. It's my mess. When I had housemates, I couldn't live in their mess. It was driving me up the wall. Like, I couldn't handle it. But like, because this is my flat, the stuff in the hallway, whatnot, I can just forget it exists because it's my mess. And so things pile up, and then I have to always be clearing out, sorting things. So the next tip is focusing on what's important. As I said before, you need to prioritize certain tasks that are most important. So going through all your lists and being like, right, okay, what is most important? Things that you really don't need to worry about, because there's a lot of tasks, right, that we have in life, and things that we want to do and things we need to do that are really not that important. Like, it really doesn't matter if you forget to take your recycling out and it's like, you know, building up. Like, sometimes my recycling gets quite full and I haven't gone down the stairs, and the main reason is because I have to go downstairs, like multiple flights of stairs, to go to the recycling bin. And I know that sounds so lazy, but when you live in a flat and you work from home, I'm not going to go all the way downstairs if I'm not leaving just to take it down. But that it's such a simple task. Like, yeah, honestly, sometimes I sound so lazy, but it's just because if I'm not leaving, why would I go outside? I'm not going to do it. But yeah, important tasks are ones that you really, really need to get done. And they are probably, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a big task. It can be quite a small task. If you've got something that's really small, like, you know, when you need to, like, I don't know, call the doctors, and you know it probably take you 5 minutes, but you really don't want to do it, and you're like, oh, really can't be bothered to do that. And then you do it and you're like, oh, why did I leave that so long? It's literally one of those. Sometimes you just have to do those tasks that need to be done that you don't want to do, because they're actually really, really easy. I remember when I went to get my smear test last year, I kept putting it off because I couldn't be bothered to call the doctors. And then when obviously the doctors are kind of hard to call, like sometimes I'm like busy and you're having to wait, but like it took like 2 minutes. And I was like, I actually hate myself, because why did I keep putting it off? I can easily just sit and call someone quickly, 5 minutes, done, booked in. I don't know why we do that. I think it's almost like, I think doctors especially, it's one of those things that you kind of like, can be quite daunting. I think it's like, oh, what if something happens? Or like, I don't know, you're used to like having your parents do it when you're younger. And if you're like me and you're not like someone who goes to doctors regularly, it almost feels like a chore to do it. You're like, oh God, do you know what I mean? So yeah, those are tasks that I absolutely hate. But like, important tasks have to be done, and it's important to pull out the ones that really do have to be done and not ones that you want to do, because it's so easy, as I said before, to just pick out the tasks that you want to do, that you think are most important, but actually, are they? Maybe second guess. Go through your important list, your urgent tasks, and be like, right, what is actually urgent? what actually needs to be done. Because sometimes you can pass the task over to the next week and you'll be like, do you know what, I do need to do that, but I don't need to get it done this week, let me tackle these other things and then I'll come back to it. Because a lot of your kind of to-do lists could be things that you do in your everyday life that actually you don't need a to-do list for. You know you're going to do them at some point. You might need to plan them into your week, yes, but you probably don't need to write a to-do list to go and buy food or to have a shower. You probably don't need to do that. But saying that, I actually love adding really, really small everyday tasks to my to-do list that I'm going to do anyway. Like, I don't need a to-do list to do it, but it makes me feel really, really good when I can cross off wash hair, do washing, change bed sheets, or like take recycling out. I love crossing off those small tasks, even though I'm going to do them anyway. Like, I'm going to do it anyway. Cook dinner. Cross it off. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like it's so nice to be able to cross off those tasks because it makes you feel productive. It makes you feel good because you're like, yeah, I've really ticked off a lot of things. And they could be things that you're going to do anyway. I just love it. I think it's great. I think it really like boosts your like productivity because you're like, yeah, I've got this. Even though none of the tasks are tasks that are probably important. They're just things you were going to do anyway. The next one is managing your time well. Managing time is really, really difficult. I am, as I said before, a big procrastinator. So I will happily do something else rather than doing what I need to do. And I think managing your time is so important. So if you want to work out, but you also want to cook dinner, you've got like some parcels to send off, you need to do that. You also need to do some like life admin, all of these things. It's like managing your time well and giving yourself allotted times to work on something or do something. So obviously majority of you listening probably go to work every day, right? So you're gonna have like only a small patch of time in the evenings to do a lot of the things that you need to do that are important to you. So like I said, if you want to work out, you need to cook dinner. You also need to do any life admin when you get home, any bits and bobs that you've got to get done. It's really hard sometimes because if you finish work at 6, get home by 7, half 7, you have only got a few hours before you probably want to get to bed to do all the things you want to do. So it is about managing your time well and sometimes moving things to make it a little bit easier or doing something to make it a little bit easier. So working out, for example, can you do it in the morning? Can you do it at your lunch? Or do you always need to go in the evening? Do you prefer going in the evening? Whatever suits you, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and be like, go in the morning if you feel better going and working out in the evening. But then it's like, okay, if you want to work out and then you struggle to find time to want to cook dinner and stuff like that, can you cook a dinner that you can eat a couple days throughout the week? Or can you meal prep or whatever to make it easier so that you can actually enjoy your evening rather than sitting there like at 9 p.m. cooking your dinner and then having to go to bed straight away. Do you know what I mean? So managing time is something that is obviously personal to everyone else. Everyone else? Oh my God, am I okay? Personal to yourself. You know, you're not going to be like the next person. You might have certain things that you want to do that like are important to you, but they might not be important to the next person. Like, I don't know, you want to cook a dinner from scratch every single night, that's important to you, then that's okay. If you want to do a workout every single day, again, that's your choice, you know? So managing your time is all about the important things to you, but also sometimes you've got to just switch things and move them to a different day or do something at the start of the week that's going to make it easier for the rest of the week. I think that's quite underrated, doing things to set yourself up for the week. I always on a Sunday will plan my week ahead, and I have to do it on a Sunday. If I don't do it, then I feel like I'm lost. Unless I know on the Monday I'm going to have an admin day, I might not plan my week because I know that Monday I'm just going to be sat on my laptop. I can do it on Monday morning, but for the most part I will do it on a Sunday just so I can be prepped and ready. And it actually makes me feel more motivated because the amount of times I've not done it on a Sunday and then I'm like, what do I do? I'm lost. So yeah, it is all about managing the time you want, managing the time you have and what you want to do. I do apologize, I cannot speak today, don't know what's going on. But yeah, time is something that everyone's going to be different whether you've got children, whether you have a job that's quite long hours. Everyone's going to be different, and it's just prioritizing the tasks you need to do, but also managing your time so you're not giving yourself too much time to do something, and giving yourself like a really small allotted time. Maybe you give yourself an hour to tick off all of those like life admin things you need to get done. Sometimes things happen and you can't tick things off, and you're like, damn it, like, oh, it's too late, or certain thing took really, really long. But then it's just like, okay, well, I'll move on to the next thing. That's why it's always important to start with the most important tasks, the most important things, and then, you know, you're not going to feel like you've not done the most important thing if you do something small. Like, you know, if you've got a list and you're picking the thing at the bottom and you're like, yeah, I'll do that, and then it's taken you like an hour and you only gave yourself an hour, then you're like, oh, shit, I should have done the task at the top. Always important to do the most important task. How many times can I say important and task in this episode, honestly? Next is use a calendar or a diary, depending on if you're like a paper diary person or a digital person. It will depend on what you're going to go for. But I have to admit, I'm a Google Calendar girl, and you know what? Google Calendar is amazing. It's so good. I believe, is it Google Calendar? I believe you can like sync your calendar if you have someone, or maybe it's Apple, I'm not sure, but you can like sync your calendar so you can see other person's calendar, like your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids. You can have their calendar synced to yours so you can see what they're doing. So if you're like, oh, what am I going to do this week? When have I got free time? When is the kid, I don't know, when is my boyfriend going to the gym? Then you can see, well, I don't even know if boys put going to the gym in their calendar. I have no idea, but you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to have someone else's calendar so you can sync with the calendar. So that's great. But a calendar, the Google Calendar is so good, because I used to be a paper girl, but I then forget about the paper. The book, it's like finding the diary. Then it's just so much easier to have your diary on your phone. If someone's like, oh, are you free on this date? And you're like, bear with, let me scroll through. Yeah, I'm free. It's just so much better. And like, you can put in everything you want to put in, whether that's your workout classes, your like meeting up with friends, going on a date. If you've got a holiday, you can easily see it all visually right there. You can scroll through and you're like, okay, yep, I can do this, I can move that. Honestly, a calendar will save your life, and Google Calendar is great. You can share it with people. So if someone, like I said, if you want to see what someone else is doing, it's amazing. Like, for me, I have it mostly for work, because like if I have events or trips or like things like that, like I have my calendar for, and my manager will just pop in, like if there's any events that I have, I'll just have them they'll pop them in for me, so I don't need to do it myself, which is great because obviously they have all the details, so they just pop them in, and then I'm like, oh, amazing. And that's just because I shared my calendar. But calendars are so good, and I put most things in my calendar. I don't like plan out my day on the calendar because I wouldn't look at it, but like I like to have, like, I put all my Pilates classes in there. I'll put, like, if I'm going on a date, or if I'm going for drinks with someone, going for dinner, if I've got an event, if I'm going on holiday, I'll put all those bits and bobs in that are like actual things that I need to go and do, or if it's like an appointment or something like that, they'll all be popped in my diary, so I can actually see the important things that I have to do that day. And if, like, I don't know, if I'm taking the day to do something, I can put that in my diary. So say I'm taking this whole day to do the podcast, I can put that in my diary if I wanted to. So I know when I'm visually looking at things, okay, yeah, actually, I can't take the day off that day because I need to do this. So a calendar is really good. And I think with Google Calendars, obviously, if you decide that you want to change the day of something, you can just move the thing to another day, and it's not like crossing it out, and it looks clean. And I just love a Google Calendar. Oh my God, I'm sorry for anyone who's listening to this episode today. Like, this just really, like, sums up how I'm feeling today. I had a really, really, really odd dream last night. And it was one of those ones where, like, the person in it is someone that I used to know or know. It was a guy I dated. And it was just really strange. Like, it was kind of realistic, but it also wasn't realistic. And it just felt really strange and weird. And, like, I just thought to myself, why am I dreaming this? Why am I thinking about this person who I've not spoken to in 9 months, maybe? It's very odd, isn't it? It's very odd. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the dream, but that's really set me off for a weird day. So I do apologize. The next one is delegating tasks. Kind of links back to what I was saying before about how like it's important to like pick a day with all these, like get your tasks and pick a day when they're going to get done. Because sometimes you need to delegate them and put them in like different days. Like for me, let me use Vinted as an example. So I sold loads of stuff from Vinted. Just like needed to do it, do you know what I mean? Like the bag of clothes that was sat, and I was like, if I don't put these bits on Vinted, I'm never going to sell anything, and I'm never going to get rid of anything. And I do donate a lot of stuff because with my job I collate, yeah, that's the right word, I collect a lot of stuff, and I can't sell it all. It would take me forever. I don't have the space. So I'll sell the bits that I think like are nice, or if they're new, or I feel like people would want to buy them, and then I donate the rest. Oh, I've just got an email. And yeah, so I do that. But other than that, like the things would never get, like I'd never get them sold. But anyway, this week I've been like I told myself on Sunday to put this stuff on Vinted, and I didn't do everything. I did a good chunk of it, and I've had people buy stuff, and now I have all these parcels, but I can't do all the parcels at once because I have to go to Tesco and drop them off. And do you know what? The lady in Tesco doesn't really seem to like me. I don't think she likes anyone, to be honest. So I've been going every single day, dropping off about 10 parcels a day. So it's only been like 2 days this week, but still, so far. So I've still got another 2 days of parcel drop-offs, so that I'm not doing it all at once. But those tasks I've delegated throughout the week. I'm like, I must do this, and they're all sat over there and they're all waiting for me when I need to do it. So I've delegated that task. Same goes for if you need to clear out something. Maybe you start it one day and you like take it over a few days. Sometimes it's just about starting the task that then allows you to come back to it and like do bits and bobs throughout. Like I feel like sometimes when you just leave something for so long, it gets worse and worse and worse, and then you're like, oh, why didn't I start this before? So sometimes just starting a task can really, really help, even if it is just clearing out one thing from that cupboard, or it's just giving it a bit of a tidy. Like my food cupboard, I tidied on the weekend. Oh my god, it was literal chaos. I don't know what I was doing. I was just shoving so much stuff in there, and then there was things that were like out of date, and I was like, do you know what, this is embarrassing. And this happens to me all the time, especially with my fridge, because I'm just like, I think it's because I live alone. Living alone is great, but sometimes I look at the fridge and I think that's embarrassing, and it's a really good job no one's coming around, because like I'd be embarrassed for anyone to look in that fridge right now. So, and that's how I feel right now about my fridge. Another good thing that you can do is thinking about doing one big task a week. So if you have a few big tasks that you need to do, like one of the things that I've really struggled with at the start of the year is all of the things I really wanted to organise and sort out and do. And naturally, me being me, I wanted to do them all at once. So I've been trying to just do one thing a week. So clearing out my wardrobe was one. Clearing out the kitchen cupboard was another one. Sorting out my TV unit because it's so messy. Haven't done that yet, but that's one. My Monica cupboard, which is something that I have to do in stages because at the moment it's full of bags of clothes that need to be donated / the things I'm selling. So once that's done, I can actually get in there and maybe tidy it a bit better. I want to go through all my shoes and my trainers. That's another thing I need to do. I had to go through my bathroom, organise my bathroom, did that I'm very happy with. But I can't do all these things at once. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not easy things to do, and they're not quick things to do. Even just like deep cleaning my flat, I can't do that like every single week. I just don't have it in me. So I do like one big task a week. Another thing I need to do is clear out the fridge, sort out the freezer. Do you know what I mean? All of these things are things that I don't need to do all at once, but I do need to do at some point. So I will do like I said before, I did all my Vinted on Sunday. I cleaned out the kitchen cupboard because I was just like doing it anyway. And then like this week coming, maybe I'll sort out the fridge, or maybe I'll start sorting out my shoes, or do you know what I mean? Like just slowly doing things, big tasks, one a week. You don't need to do all of them once. You just don't need to do all of them at once. It's not easy. And it's also like, it's boring when you're doing all of these tasks at the same time, because then you start them and then you don't finish them, and there's mess, and it's just not it. So defo do one big task a week, and maybe just set it out, like put it in your like calendar if you want. Do this task, this task, this task. So then you can be like, right, I know what I need to do. Especially if you're going away maybe, or you've got certain plans you want to have things done by. It's good just to get those tasks done. And if you do have a lot of big, maybe they're like more admin-y tasks, maybe they're more like, I don't know, moving furniture about, something like that. You need to make sure you have allotted time for it as well, because if you know it's going to take you a long time, then you need to have enough time to do that thing. So that's why big tasks, you kind of need to do one a week, so that you can give yourself enough time to do that task. There is nothing worse than starting a big task and then not having the time for it. So, and then rushing it and not doing it well. So it's very, very important to make sure that you give yourself enough time for each big task. Obviously the small tasks don't need as much time, but like the big tasks, you need to make sure that you give yourself the time to actually achieve them and do them right. And then you'll feel better, because you'll be like, right, one big task ticked off, I'll do the next one next week. And sometimes it's just doing them on a Sunday, because that's when you have time free. Or maybe it's like doing that one big task over different days throughout the week, if that's something you can do. So then that's like, you've done that throughout the week, and then you can start the next one. Obviously it depends on your lifestyle and how busy you are and what you do, because like I usually do things on the weekends, because I'm not super busy on weekends at this time of year. I don't really want to go out, it's cold. I think you kind of figured out that I hate the cold at this point. Celebrate the small wins. Small tasks are important. As I said before, sometimes I do just love to write the most stupid tasks on my list, just to say that I've ticked them off. But small tasks are really good. So if you're stuck and you're like, oh my God, I just can't figure out what to do, I'm really like not getting anything done, do your small tasks. Do the tasks you know for a fact you can do, that will get done pretty quickly, that will make you feel better. Like maybe it's just doing the washing up, and there's loads of it because you just have it's built up because you've just not been like with it. Do your washing up, just kind of switch off from everything else, do that. Or maybe it's like I don't know, you need to clean the shower, do that. Or, I mean, is cleaning the shower a small task? I don't know. Maybe it's just giving your bedroom a little tidy, or calling the doctors. All of these little things. Tick off your little tasks, because your little tasks will make you feel like you've achieved more. And if you don't feel like you can do any of your bigger tasks, because sometimes they do take a lot of time, it's just getting the small ones done is so good. Even if that is, like I said, taking your rubbish out to the recycling, or making your bed, or filling up something, or do you know what I mean? Like the little tasks are things that you can easily do. We all know you can easily do them. It's just sometimes it takes like getting used to getting organised and really getting yourself going. Small tasks are always good to start with. And you know what? As long as you're getting something done and something off that list, I think it can really help to make yourself feel better. Sometimes, like I said, I literally will only tick off the things that I was always going to do anyway, but being able to cross them off my list, oh God, it's so good. Like this notepad right here, I've got all of these like pointers on. I say pointers, the tips. I love then being able to just like cross them off with a pen. Oh, it just looks so good, and I'm like, yeah, I'm actually being productive today, even though like I literally just washed my hair. Do you know what I mean? Love it. I love it. And then my final tip is to pre-plan when you can. So if you know that you want to work out, then book in your classes, or book in the time that you're going to go. Even if it's just going to the gym, like book in your allotted time, put it in your calendar, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. gym, or 8 a.m. Pilates class, 7 p.m. workout class. I can't think of another workout class off the top of my head. Cycle. Do you know what I mean? Like, just, I don't know why I keep saying, do you know what I mean? I'm really sorry. I feel like I do say it a lot, but I think it's because I've been watching Love Island All Stars, and one of the girls on there, can't remember her name, Hannah, she always goes, do you know what I mean? She's, that was a bad accent, I'm so sorry. But anyway, yeah, like put in those tasks and pre-plan where you can. obviously I feel like life changes so quickly and you end up doing something that you didn't plan to do, or a date pops up and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Like, I can do that. Or like, someone asks you to go for drinks and you didn't plan that into your week. Like, things pop in and out of your diary all the time, right? So just try to pre-plan where you can with things that you want to do or tasks that need to get done for you. So like I said, workout class is a really good way of doing that. Pre-plan as much as you can. If you know that you need to do a certain amount of things before a holiday, then you can get those pre-planned. Pre-planning will really, really help, especially with your calendar. You can pop them in your calendar, you can see it, and you can be like, right, this is what I'm doing, this is a task I need to achieve, this is a task I need to do. Then when someone's like, oh, do you want to go for drinks? And you're like, damn it, I actually do need to do that task. That's important to do. It's more important than going for drinks. And that's the only day they can do. You could be like, look, sorry, I actually have something more important that I need to do that day. So I don't know if I'll be able to do drinks, but then you can suggest another day. Sometimes it's just easy to not do something and go out for drinks because you're like, that sounds more fun. But actually giving yourself that allotted time to schedule in everything that you need to do, and then once everything's scheduled in, the things that are important to you, the things that you know you need to get done, then when someone says, oh, do you want to do something on this day, and you're like, I can't because I need to get that thing done, it's already in your diary, rather than like not thinking about it, not remembering, and then it comes to the day and you're like, oh, I really need to do that thing and I don't know if I can go for drinks, and you're cancelling on people. So sometimes it's just important to have all of those things that really need to get done allotted in certain days, even if that is like one every month or whatever, whenever suits you. Then you know that you have to get that done. That's a plan for that day that you need to do, whatever it may be. And you can't go out and have drinks and whatnot, but like, I think that it's very easy to go and do the drinks because it's fun, and it's way more fun than doing the boring tasks. But giving yourself a lot of time will really help to remind you that, okay, actually I have to get that done, and that's something I set myself for that day, so drinks are not going to work. It's like if you book a Pilates class on like a Saturday morning, for example, and then someone asks if you want to go out for drinks on the Friday, and you're like, do I want to be hungover on Saturday and I'm doing a Pilates class? Probably not. And then you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or you move the Pilates class. It depends on what's the most important to you. But yeah, I hope those tips helped. I do apologise. I feel so all over the place today that I actually don't know if I was any help to anyone, but I feel like that is a very true representation of how my brain works when it comes to being organised, because I like to be organised, but then also I'm a scatterbrain at the same time, and then I'm like, oh God, I haven't done half the tasks I need to do. Although this week I've been fairly productive so far. It's a Wednesday when I'm recording this, so I've had 2 days worth of, actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. I went to get my nails done yesterday. I haven't had that much of a product. Oh my God, I need to shut up. That sums it up. I'm like, yeah, I've had a really productive day because I ticked off, went and got my nails done, took my parcels to the post office. And do you know what? Small wins. Because if you do just end up going and taking a parcel to the post office and that's the only thing you've done and that's your most important task done, that's cool. Don't stress yourself out. Sometimes it's just about getting those small things done so then you can carry on with the day and feel like you've successfully done something, even though it was the smallest task. Small tasks, honestly, are underrated. They're most important sometimes, and they do make you feel good. And I just think if you feel better because you've gone and taken that small parcel to the post office, then cool. That can be your one task of the day, and that's fine. Let's make small tasks like important tasks on certain days, because sometimes that's all you want to do and that's all you feel like doing, and that's okay. So yeah, scatterbrain over here is going to stop talking to you now. I'm sorry this episode has been all over the shop and I've just rambled about random stuff in between all of the things. This is honestly how my brain works on a regular basis. Like, I'll be talking and I'll just think about something else and I'll be like, oh my God, this story. Can't stop talking. It's honestly a nightmare. But anywho, I love you all. I hope that you're doing good this week, and if you're not, don't worry, it's all good. Sometimes we have bad weeks. It's January, remember? It's okay. But remember, you've still got time to get organised. You've still got time to feel the best you at the start of the year, and you've still got time to figure out where you're going this year. It's totally okay. That being said, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you all next week. Bye.